Do you hear that? That's not just sound. That's 50 years of philosophies crashing into your ears. From wax cylinders to entire universe made of reverb. Sound design has gone from footsteps and folly to bending time, emotion and reality. But most creators still treat sound like seasoning. They don't know it's the actual frame. They don't know about Michael Skion's kinesis or Walter Mitty's vaulting in sound design. They don't know that the voice doesn't just speak, it controls the camera. And if you've ever asked, why does this cut feel so good? You're about to find out. Because in the next 6 minutes, I will teach you what my workflow looks like to get that crisp sound design in the films I make. Let's cut, let's listen, let's begin. Before you start layering reverb or tweaking EQs, you need to know this. Sound design isn't just about making things sound cool. It's about how we feel sound. And that feeling comes from 100 years of thinking, testing and experimenting. So, if you want your videos to sound cinematic, emotional or just more intentional, here's the real foundation. Let's make this very simple. First, vocals, your anchor point. Let's start with the voice. Dialogue isn't just a way to talk. It tells you where you are, how you should feel, and even what's not being said. In sound theory, there's something called acoustic mirroring. Imagine a whisper echoing in a cave. You don't need to see the cave, you hear it. Most film dialogue today, it's cleaned up, re-recorded and made crystal clear, even if it's not realistic. But that's the point. It's what sound theorist Michael Schion called the audio-vocal contract. Our brain agrees to accept this perfect voice because it feels right. Now think of voiceovers like the Shawshank Redemption. Red's narration isn't in the world, but it still feels like a part of it. That's called internal diegesis. It's the voice of thought, memory, perspective, not just dialogue. Second, music, the emotion builder. Music shapes emotion before you even notice it. There's a technique called leitmotif, a melody or theme that repeats with a character or moment. Think of Darth Vader theme in the Star Wars movie. You hear it and you already feel what's coming. But here's a cooler trick. Sometimes music starts inside the world, then becomes part of the background score. Like in the movie Baby Driver. A song starts in his earphones, then spreads across the scene. It's called a diegetic shift. And it helps blur the line between the character's world and ours. Where do I get my tracks from? Of course, it's Epidemic sound. But about that in a bit, when I actually break down my entire workflow for the intro that you saw currently. Next up, ambience, feeling the world. A forest scene doesn't sound real just because you hear birds. You hear layers, crunching leaves, wind through trees, distant insects, and they're all slightly exaggerated. This is called hyper-reality, sound that's more detailed than real life. Why? Because our brain does not need accuracy. It looks for patterns and good ambience plays into that. In Blade Runner 2049, every sound in the city, the cars, ads, crowds, is stacked like a cake. Each layer tells you this is the world you live in. Fourth, sound effects, meaning in every noise. There are two types of sound in films. Diegetic, sounds that characters hear, and non-diegetic, sounds only the audience hears. But the real magic is when you mix the two. The lightsaber hum in Star Wars sounds so real because it was built from scratching using real machines. It's fictional, but it feels true. That's a non-diegetic sound. You don't see the source, but it taps into something primal. Fear, panic, instantly. Next, editing sound. How sound creates flow. Ever noticed when sound starts before the next shot? That's a J cut. Or when it lingers after the scene is over. That's an L cut. Now, this helps keep your video flowing naturally. So when you hear a sound in a video that just hits right, just know that that's not random. It's built on theory, emotion, and pure intention. Now, let me show you how I applied all of this that I taught you in the intro you just saw. Let's break it down layer by layer so you can hear what most people just miss. So the first thing that most people ask me is, where do you get very high quality soundtracks for your videos? Be it the music, the sound effects, the atmospheres, whatever. So I've been using Epidemic sound for my personal projects for the past 3 to 4 years, and why I love this is for a lot of reasons. First of all, that when you connect your own channel, it will actually give some recommendation based on your channel and the kind of tracks that you use. They have one of the best libraries, and in this video I will give a detailed breakdown of how I do my music and SFX for highly edited videos like this. So first of all, the best thing that they have is their own plugin. So most of the times I don't even go to the website, I just load up their plugin from here, and based on the video I can also choose the genre of music that I'm looking for. So first let's look at the structure of the video. Again, I like to keep my timeline very organized. So first thing that I do is just try to find a track that goes really well. Now let's give it a listen with just my voice and the soundtrack. Do you hear that? That's not just sound, that's 50 years of philosophies crashing into your ears. From wax cylinders to entire universe made of reverb, sound design has gone from footsteps and foley to bending time. So yeah, it looks a little unfinished and polished without the sound effects. A lot of people ask me, okay, what do you actually type to find such songs? For example, I see a lot of movies, right? So this sort of soundtrack I liked from a movie called Birdman. So if I just try to, because it has those subtle drums, and okay, after selecting drum, now we can go to the filter called instruments, and this is a new feature that they have and it's extremely important. So I will do the drum kit and hand drums. Let's listen to a couple of this. So this kind of fits the vibe well, and you can also see that labels that they have: funk, alternate hip hop, happy, restless. Okay, so the best part is that you can even create multiple versions of this. For example, if you're editing for social media, you can create like 30-second version of this, you can create 40-second version of this, and you can also create loopable ones. And you can select, okay, this is the part I like most about this song. And so this is pretty good to create loopable short versions of the music, and you can also find similar. For example, if you really love this track, you can add it to your own playlist, like it, and then you can find similar. Like you can also, for example, you really love the first section and you can find similar ones. So again, it's a very long process of trying to find the music, but I think having a platform like this really helps a lot. For example, this is the one that would go well, and the best thing is I can actually download either the segment or the full track. For example, if you choose full mix, it will have all the different instruments mixed together. If I am using this music track, I will be using a separate stems. I will remove some of the instruments to make it not too distracting. Now let's discuss the sound effects. So this is like a tick or like a text loop which you can easily go to the SFX and search, and you can also literally search by frame. For example, if you like this frame and you want to get recommendation of what should I use in this frame, you can actually get. And there are obviously popular categories like whooshes, ambience, water, and simply just go to search here, ticks, and you can, without even going to the browser, you can. And the best part is you can literally just select this segment, drag this segment. You can actually import this to the timeline at the playhead, which is just gonna save a lot of time because I don't have to download, try to see where things are gonna start from. So it has added another track. This is like tiles coming up, right? So for this, I just use like a ceramic sound. If you just give it a listen. Again, it's very simple. Go to the SFX, type the sort of sound you want, and you will literally can import it to the playhead. You can also alternatively download it, and also if you like something, you can actually like it from this panel itself, and it will be synchronized to your artboard. As you can see, this is a transition, right, where the camera is kind of zooming into the next frame, right? So I have used like a whoosh transition in here. Go to Epidemic sound, search for whoosh, and try to find something that you like. Right, again, I would try to lower it down a little bit so that it does not distract. So this is a very crazy hack that whenever you're trying to move the camera in this composition, you can add a whoosh. Now this makes a lot of sense. So the next effect is a riser, and when to use a riser is whenever you're trying to show some sort of a suspense and you want to reveal something excellent at the end of that. For example, I have used this to go to the next frame where I'm probably going to drop, right? I'm just walking over those tiles. So I will just simply select a riser. In a lot of videos, I've used this as a riser. What you can also do is, if you feel that, for example, I will just give you a very short demo. Like I can drop this. right? I will just give you a short demo. For example, if you feel that this is very teeny, right, not very deep, not very bassy, and it does not fit, right, what you can do is go to put a effect called pitch shifter. For example, you can go to pitch shifter and use like a dark cloud. That's what I use a lot of times. See, you already made it sound more deep, not teeny. Okay, the next sound effect is obviously very obvious, which are like footsteps. It's just a footstep sound effect. Yeah, now these are visual metaphors that I've used in the background to talk about time. As you can see, that's how the clock in the background is as I'm falling through multiple dimensions, right? So a lot of times you won't find exactly what you're looking for and you have to use something else which might also fit perfectly. So for this one, it's HUD, something HUD kind of fine. Something like this would do fine. Like something like sci-fi. Well, again, as I talked about treating it like a seasoning, I just added sprinkling salt sound effect. And if you talk about, I think it's just typing sound effect in here. Yeah, just typing sound effect in here. Nothing much. So is this typing. So is this like, you know, space bar. I was wearing the mic somewhere like in here. So this is like a natural sound effect. There is no sound effect that I've used. Again, it's a whoosh and there's a hit after this. Right, which takes us to the next thing. That was a small segment of the breakdown, and if you would love to try Epidemic sound, please give it a try. The link will be in the description down below. And I'm very soon planning to teach all of my secret sauce of sound design, video editing, design in general in my Discord server. So don't forget to check out my Discord in the description down below. See you next time.